To Young Thug, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the evidence that they have in this case. Now, Young Thug is charged in that Rico indictment in the Fulton County District of Georgia. And, there have been some rumors about Gunna snitching or not snitching. Somebody who's on Twitter saying he's snitching. You really got to be careful when you do that stuff, because if somebody's wrongfully accused of being a snitch, they could wind up getting hurt or killed. And so if you're doing that, you don't fucking know. I guarantee you don't know. You don't know jack. Gunna made some statements, I think, online about him coming home soon. Just about every guy does that. And they do that to keep a positive attitude. It's hard to be in the county jail. But we were able to kind of find some of the documents that establish some of the things that we're talking about. Now, there's a DDA, that's Deputy District Attorney Sprinkle. And what they've done is they've gotten all kinds of records. See, whenever you go anywhere or do anything, you create a record, whether it's a cell phone record, whether it's a rental agreement or whatever. So in 2015, Young Thug rented a car. He rented a 2014 Infiniti Q50. And when he rented that car, guess what he did? He signed an agreement. And he had other people that were involved in the shooting of Thomas, a rival gang member of the Inglewood family, the IF. First of all, in this Rico, before they even got picked up, they had snitches involved. Okay, Kenneth Copeland is the guy who has basically said Young Thug rented the silver Infiniti. They have a bunch of other witnesses that saw the Infiniti. They have cell phone data. And here's the other thing. Your cell phone is like a digital footprint of wherever you go. And you can even turn off your location on your phone, and if you make a call, it hits a tower. When it hits a tower, those towers are three-sided, and they can pinpoint your GPS location from where you hit the tower. So they can pinpoint where you are, not exactly where you are down to the foot, but pretty darn close. And so Kenneth Copeland has given a statement, and one of the things he said was that, and they have the rental agreement that Mr. Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, signed. And he indicated that it was all planned, that Mr. Williams was the orchestrator of it all, and that when they got back to Copeland's vehicle, and they told him they had just killed him. So they admitted it. But here's the thing, you can't just, and he would ostensibly be a co-conspirator in the, or an accomplice in the homicide, because he was involved. But you can't rely only on that. Accomplice testimony alone is never enough. You have to have things corroborating. That's why they have DNA sometimes. They don't have DNA in this case, I don't think. But they do have cell phone tower records. They have cell phone records of calls before and after. They have a lot of communication between these guys. It is... You are going to see some major stuff coming out of this. The identity of a cooperating witness in the Young Thug Rico case has leaked online because the individual and their family were receiving threats. That's the other danger of here's the thing. There's a fine line between protecting an investigation and giving the defense their disclosures. Okay? And what they're talking about here is disclosure by the government to the defense in this case has somehow leaked out into the public. And because it's leaked out into the public, whoever was the snitch, i.e. probably Kenneth Copeland, now is getting death threats and that kind of thing with his family. And when you're dealing with these things, this is real. This is absolutely real. But the problem that they're going to have is when they get these threats, that leads to more arrests. And more arrests leads to more jail time or more snitches. There are a ton of witnesses in this case, a ton of documents. And here's the thing, you might think, well, it's a 2015 case. What's the statute of limitations on murder? There isn't any in any jurisdiction. So there's no limitation on when they can prosecute a homicide. They prosecute it when they have the evidence. So apparently there was a leak. And both Steele, that is Young Thug's attorney, and the DA have expressed concern about it. This happens a lot in federal cases where we get an order, a protective order, saying that we can't share the documents with our clients. And the reason being, especially if it's a multi-defendant case where there's the fear of retaliation against a potential cooperating witness, which is exactly what we have here. And there's only one way, and the cooperating witness here is I think it's Copeland, and Copeland is a YSL member. But the only way it gets out is if Young Thug does that, in my opinion. That's the only way that comes out. I can't imagine his lawyers would do it. That would just be career-ending, honestly. This is putting people at risk, and it's poisoning the jury pool, is what his lawyer said, Steele. Please stop immediately. Whomever is placing items of discovery online is not doing anybody any favors. It is totally inappropriate to try this case in social media. This will be tried fairly and justly in Fulton County Superior Court. That's what he said. But the only way that gets out is if somebody gives it to his client and then the client releases it. I mean, otherwise, if it's just in the lawyer's hands, how does it get out? Because I can't imagine that the DA wants this to happen. And I find it hard to believe that the DA itself would do that. So what we try to do on this channel is we try to present just the facts and apply whatever knowledge I have about the law to the facts in the case as we see it. I don't try to speculate too much. I certainly don't want to prejudge Young Thug's what's going to happen with him. What I read from you was from an actual document, an investigative document that I know is part of the case file in this case. What I don't want to do is speculate. A lot of people get out there and, they run with it. They run with a little bit of information. And when they do that, they can create a climate of disinformation and ultimately be unfair to the people who we're talking about here. And, we report on this stuff because we find it interesting, and I know you guys do too. But what I don't want to do is spread falsehoods or half-truths or talk about shit out of my ass like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I don't do that. Or at least I try not to. And if I get something wrong, I'll tell you that I got it wrong. But so be careful on somebody taking you down a path. That's really more a path of sensationalism than it is the truth or, part of a thorough analysis from somebody who's qualified, like a board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And that doesn't mean to say that you got to be a board-certified criminal defense lawyer to comment on this stuff. It's absolutely interesting. The hip-hop community is absolutely a buzz with YSL, and that's totally cool. I get it. But let's take a step back. Let's give him a fair trial. What if half the shit in this document that I just read to you isn't true? This certainly is a hearsay document. It's a one-sided document. It hasn't been cross-examined. So we don't know what Mr. Steele has in store. And hopefully he's keeping his powder dry, and he's going to have an excellent defense and maybe even an alibi to say that, that may look like it, but somebody else had his phone, and he was in a different part of the city at that time. Could be totally innocuous. Might not be, but it's not for us to judge. But it is for us to just kind of give you an update as to where we think this case is headed. And it's definitely headed for trial. They're not going to, I guarantee you, they're not going to negotiate on this because it's a murder one, it's life without. And, so those are the kinds of cases that wind up in trial. Okay, this is just another thing we wanted to add to this video because it's sort of breaking news. Young Thug has been sued by a concert promoter for $150,000 while he's still in jail. Imagine that. He has been sued for $150,000 over a canceled concert that was supposed to take place in Atlanta this summer, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Here's the thing. When you sign a contract, let's talk a little bit about contract law. There's offer, right? And acceptance. So I offer you $150,000 actually, in this case, they offered him $300,000 for a 45-minute set. They probably gave him half up front and the other half when he gets done playing. So I give you $150,000. You say, okay, that's a good deal. I give you the $150,000. Now, in order for you to get the other $150,000, in order for you to keep the $150,000 that I just gave you, you have to do what's called performance. So you have offer, acceptance, performance. And If you can't perform for some reason, you don't get the benefit of the bargain, because what is that called? Unjust enrichment. So Thug was supposed to make $300,000 for a 45-minute set. Not bad money for if you can get it. Like I said, half this amount was paid up front, and the other half was to be paid after the event. He's been sued while he's in jail, and sued for the $150,000. Now his representatives have said that they will give the money back, but they're not in any rush, because here's the thing: you think any judge is going to make him go forward with a civil trial before the criminal trial is done? No, that just isn't going to happen. But they've got to get their money from somewhere and keep their claim alive, so they have to sue him. There's no way they're going to ever take a deposition or do anything. This will get settled out of court. So this has just been our quick update on Young Thug and, Gunna. And Gunna ain't going to come home anytime soon. Even if somebody is cooperating, they don't let him out to cooperate. That just doesn't happen. I think because the risk is too great. What they do is they separate him. And I'm sure Young Thug and Gunna are not together in jail. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board certified criminal defense lawyer. We make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter.